Hello Mitel users, Scott here with Transwest. Today we're going to talk about Mitel Collaboration Advanced, previously known as Mitel Audio Web Conferencing or AWC for short. In March of 2012, Mitel released a new software version of this application, and along with the upgrades came a name change to Mitel Collaboration Advanced. So today we'll go through some of the user functions available as a host, as well as functions that are available to you as a remote attendee. I will be logging in as the host with the username of S. Rakestraw. I will also log in as a remote attendee on a second computer using the username of remote. This will allow us to view real-time functions for both the host and the user. So if you're ready, let's dig in. Like I mentioned, this new software was released around March of 2012. Most all of the visible upgrades and changes in the new release take place within the host and the attendee client interface. There are no real obvious changes in the procedures to log in and schedule a conference. That part has remained the same. And I want you to understand that this tutorial assumes that you've watched and understood the sister video to this tutorial titled Mitel Audio Web Conferencing Part 1, How to Schedule a Session. So let's get started here and schedule an audio along with a web session. We'll then join as the leader. We'll next log in as a remote attendee with a username of remote. And at this point we can go through some of the functions available to both parties. So off we go. You can see that I've already logged in, and let's set that conference up. We'll select a one-time conference. We'll schedule this for an audio and a web session. We'll give it a name of training. For today, let's reserve it for, say, 4 hours today. And we expect to just have 2 people in here. We can verify that we have enough ports for those 2 people to come in during that 4-hour window. And we can see that there are enough ports available for the scheduled time period, so we're good there. We'll scroll on down. We'll finish this. We do wish to have a roll call required. We want the attendees to say their name and play their name to all of the participants once they log into the audio session. And no passwords required for this one today, so let's just select OK. And that will then take us to the conference details page, and we can take a quick little look here, make sure that everything looks good for the scheduled conference, and then go ahead and send out an email to our participants and invite them and give them an email invitation to come on into the particular session. So we'll wait for our default client to open here. There we go. And there's the conference details, phone numbers that they must dial, a web link here, and if they wish to put it on their calendar right here, they can click on that link. But let's just go ahead and send that right on out to a user or an attendee, and we'll send it out at this particular point. So that's how to schedule a session. We'll go ahead and log out here, and then we'll go through the procedures to log in as a host. So we'll log out. So now let's assume that it's the scheduled time for the scheduled conference and go through the procedures to log in and join the session that we titled as training. So select your login prompt with your credentials, come up to My Conferences, and here's that training conference that we scheduled a little while ago. We'll select it, and as soon as we hit join, our phone will ring to join the audio portion of the conference. My extension is ringing. I'll answer it.
Welcome to the conference center. At the tone, say your name and then press pound.
Scott.
You're the first person in this conference.
A little bit of Pink Panther background music. I'll press 1 to mute that. So we can see that we are currently logged into the conference, and this is my host control right here. We'll go through this a little bit. You can see that I'm logged into the web session as the leader of the session, and this little icon right here will indicate that I am logged into the audio session as well. So this is an audio and a web session. So what we'll do next is we will go ahead and go through the screenshots and the functions that the remote attendees will need to access or utilize to access this particular conference and conference bridge. So bear with me just a moment and we'll get the remote attendee logged in. Now this is the email that we just sent out to our remote attendee, and included within this email is the phone numbers that they can dial manually, followed by the extension number and the access code to come into this particular conference. The user has the option of adding this conference to their calendar, or they can choose this option to actually very easily come into the conference bridge, and what they'll do is these fields will come up blank or default. Let me minimize this for just a moment, and let's expand on this. Now, the user can input their phone number here, and since this is a web session today, they will be joining as a participant in the web session, so they'll need to input their name. And for demo purposes today, we're just going to use the name of remote. So if they wish to join the audio session, they'll go ahead and input the phone number followed by call. The telephone number that they input will be dialed automatically for them. I'm receiving the call on my cell phone. I'll answer it. Where I'm asked to say my name, finish by pressing pound.
Now joining.
So now to come into the web session, we'll select join here. That's all there is for a remote attendee to join. So we can see in the participants tab right here, there's our host, logged in as the host for the web session. Here's the host telephone number. Here's the remote attendee that's logged into the web session, and the remote attendee that's logged into the audio session as well. So notice that this client interface is very similar to the host interface that we saw just a moment ago. Now right here we'll go through some of the options available to our participants within their collaboration window. Up underneath meeting, we can left click one time, and we have the prompt that we can start our local video to broadcast a video to our remote or other attendees, or I can completely exit the system. But here we have the start video, same icon, same application down here to start your default webcam. I'll go ahead and click this application, start my video, and this is the video that I would be broadcasting to my other users at this particular time period with some video controls up here. Here's my stop broadcast right here in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that broadcast, and I'm going to go ahead and hide this from view, and I can actually close this right here and come back to my meeting center tab, my chat tab, and so on. So that was found underneath meeting. I can come up underneath share. It's the same icon, same application that you see right here, where you can share your desktop, a region of your desktop, or just a certain application. Maybe you're running an Excel spreadsheet and the only thing that you want your remote people to see from your desktop is just that particular application. I'm going to go ahead and select region, and yes, I do wish to share. And what that's going to do, it's going to throw a little outline or dialog box up within my screen. I can click and drag that. So everything within this particular dialog box right here is available to my other attendees for viewing and discussion. Here's how I can close that remote view application. Go ahead and close that. That'll take me back to my normal collaboration client interface right here. So that was found underneath the share. I have a Windows tab right here, and this equates to these tabs that you see right within this area here, the participants, and then I have a chat tab as well. And to do an instant chat with somebody, I can just select their name if I wish to do a private chat with that person. Right click one time, select private chat, and then input the chat that I wish to send to my remote host. So now we're back to the host controls here. I wanted to bring you back to the host controls because up underneath this meeting window or tab right here, we're going to have some additional functions that will not be available to your remote participants. So we'll select meeting, and the top one is invite participants. This is not available. This function is not available to your remote attendees. But if you wish to invite additional people to come into your meeting, kind of invite them on the fly, so to speak, you could select invite participants to lock the meeting so any late arrivals cannot come in. And here's how to start broadcasting your video to your remote attendees, clear your chat history, and then truly exit the system. Up underneath the share, there's our choices to share just a single application, maybe your entire desktop, or just a region of your desktop. Now, underneath Windows, you're going to have a couple of functions that are going to be available to you that your remote attendees do not have. And primarily, I want to bring your attention to the recording right here. If you wish, you can record this session. You can record the audio, you can record any screenshots that you've been running if it's a web session. And let's go ahead and open that recording window momentarily. So there it is right there, and here's my play controls. I can record the session, pause it while I'm recording, stop the recording, and then play any sessions that maybe I've pre-recorded in the past to my remote people. So I'm going to go ahead and select this record just so maybe we can listen to some of the prompts, because when I do select record, I will be given a choice where to save this particular recording. And when we do select it, besides the save location, it will play a prompt to my remote attendees letting them know that the session is being recorded. So let's demo that real quick. I've already recorded one earlier, but we're going to replace it with a new one here. So we're currently recording this session, test 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. So that's all there is to our recording. Now I'm going to go ahead and close that recording tab right here by selecting this, which takes me back to my meeting center, my chat tab, and so on. So underneath tools, you have a file transfer. Maybe you wish to transfer some files to one of your remote attendees. A document manager. Maybe that you have preloaded some documents in this particular session that you're going to want to have access to so your remote attendees can view them. You want to have quick, easy access to a document prior to starting a session. This polling is a really cool, fun process. If you select polling, you can select from some preloaded questions. Yes or no, you wish to create a multiple choice and so on, but let's just stick to, just for demonstration purposes, a true and false question. So we can send this question out to everybody. Is today Friday? We'll need to preview that, and we like what we see, so let's go ahead and send that poll out to all of our remote attendees. Now, I'm going to quickly take you over to the user interface so you can see what your remote attendees will see when you send them a poll question. So here we are, we're back looking at a remote attendees client, and the host just sent out a poll question. And notice that it doesn't automatically appear on their screen. What it does when somebody sends out a poll question, it throws or adds a new window up into this area here. Notice that the window is highlighted in kind of a yellowish orange color. Well, in order for the remote attendee to actually see the question, they're going to have to click on that new window. And there's the question that the host just sent out. So we'll go ahead and send a response back to our host by choosing our answer and then selecting submit. Now, here we are back to the host control with the responses that we received back from our remote attendees. And you can see that we've received 1 out of 1 responses sent, 100% in this particular case. And that remote person responded back that, yes, today is Friday. And if you go show details, it just shows you the name of the remote attendee right here and what their answer was. But maybe you'd sent this poll out to 30 or 40 people, then you could look at the details one by one individually as each person responded back to you. And of course, you always can save your polling questions to your notepad so you can review it at a later date. Here we are, we're back at our host controls, and we're going to finish up today by right-clicking on one of our remote attendees' names and show you the menu options that are available to you as a host. So we will right-click, brings up a new menu tree, and of course we can do a private chat with that person. We could acknowledge any hand gestures that they may have given to us during the course of the web collaboration. But the great tool in here is this remote control, a remote desktop session. So to demo this for you, I'm going to go ahead and start a remote control, and then when I do, that remote person will get a screen pop asking if it's okay if we take control of their desktop. So what we'll do is I'll give you a quick little screenshot of what the remote person has to do to accept the RD session, and then we'll come back here to the host and we'll go through some of the controls that are available when you're running a RD session. So here we are, and we're now viewing the remote attendees client, and we can see that we've got an acknowledgement window that pops up that we do wish the host to be able to control our desktop. So we're going to click OK, and the moment we click OK, what our host will see, they will see a new window, a new tab up at the top, and it will be yellowish in color like we've seen before here, and it will be entitled Remote Control, and the host must click that tab in order to see our desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and accept the host request to control my desktop, and then when I do, it throws a new client up here at the top, and you can see there's how, if I wish to close this application, I wish my host not to be able to have control of my desktop anymore. I do have a couple of functions available to me. I have a pin tool here. Maybe I want to mark this up a little bit. I can go back to my cursor control and so on here, and then underneath here I have a transparency tool. Maybe I wish to erase something, actually hide something, and or draw a dialog box and so on. So that is some of the controls that the user has when the host is doing a remote desktop control with them. So here we are, we're back at the host controls, and after the remote person has accepted our request for an RD session, we have a new window that we must click on. It's entitled Viewer-Remote. So in order to see that person's desktop, we'll click this window here, and then this brings up the remote person's desktop, shows any applications that they're running on that desktop. Now notice it's a little bit hard to see, but here's your full screen mode right here. We'll go ahead and click on, we'll go back to full screen so we can view what we're actually looking at remotely. And you can see it's a nice clear picture, and the options that are available to you are very similar to what we saw in the client interface. So I'm going to go ahead and close this remote session by selecting this icon right here, and that'll take us back to our Meeting Center window. And I want to thank you today for watching this tutorial, and if you have any questions, you can contact us. We are found on the web at www.twns.com. Thank you.